Good afternoon, everyone. We'll still be letting people in, but I thought we'd get started. I'm showing 12 o'clock, and I think on the week of Dr. Seuss's birthday, I hope everyone is staying really warm and dry on this cold, cold, wet day because it is raining cats and dogs here in Little Rock, literally. Um, Welcome to the provider call for March. We have a pretty packed agenda. I'm going to start with, I just want to put this, I think we've talked about the spring town hall. We did a series last year, both in the spring and fall, and I just wanted to put it on everybody's radar. We are still looking for a location for Jacksonville, but we'll be starting in April and ending in May in Forest City. So just wanted you to have that to put on your calendar. We're really looking forward to it. We'll be meeting with the local leads in those areas and inviting the providers from those respective communities and for others who may want to join in, just to share updates and talk about what's happening in the world of early childhood. So, again, just wanted to make sure we got it on your calendar and just look forward to seeing you in person as we get into the warmer and hopefully more dry spring months. I think next on our agenda is a guest that we've had in the past, and she is just an advocate for science and math in early childhood. I'm a big fan of hers, and she is never going to stop working with us, and she's going to be relentless until we have all of our programs in that pre-K STEM space. So, Michelle Snyder, I'm going to turn it over to you so that you can share updates.
How kind of you. Thank you. And hello, pre-K, preschool, early childhood world out there. I just wanted to share with you guys an opportunity today, this afternoon at 3:15. We are going to have a hour of sharing about the pre-K STEM model rubric. And so let me do a little shot slideshow and I can share my screen so that everybody can see it. Is everybody seeing my screen here now? Great.
We are seeing it.
So, thank you. So, I do a series during the springtime that I call Steminars, and they are typically after school 1 hour Zooms, and I share in particular different topics. And today, my special guest is Ramona Haney from Bearcats Academy. And so, if you are available this afternoon between 3:15 or 3:30 and 4:30, whenever you can pop in. Here is the Zoom link available. And if you do work or collect your PD credits in ESC Works, you can sign up and register for this 1 hour of PD credit at ESC Works up until the time it begins. So if you join us after the time has began and you didn't have a chance to sign up, I can still give you that credit just by logging in and being part of the Zoom. Also, I am really excited to share a high quality engineering curriculum with the state of Arkansas. I just came back from the Museum of Science in Boston, and this is a completely free open education resource across the United States for engineering curriculum. And that's going to be held in April. And so let me just give you a little bit more about that. So today we are going to focus on the pathway to a pre-K model STEM school designation. These are per school designations in the state of Arkansas. And we are aligned to LEARNS, obviously, in that early childhood piece, as well as the career focus piece. There's a lot of benefits to being a STEM model school, and Ramona Haney can tell you all about that. And we'll take a look at just some of the components of the rubric and what are some of the school commitments. And then, like I said, in April, I'm really excited to share this pre-K 5 engineering curriculum. When we say engineering, we're not trying to make baby engineers. What these professional development resources are for is to really help teachers improve students' critical thinking skills, communication skills, collaboration. So all those 4 C's that we know your babies can do so well and you guys engage your kids in. So, if you're interested in a curriculum that's high quality and free, the professional development and the materials are not free, but you can't do STEM without materials. So, but I really would love to encourage you guys to stop in for that in April. I'm also going to be doing a full day of professional development this summer with this same curriculum. And so look for that to be posted on the ESC Works ADE link, as well as be published in a commissioner's memo coming out of the learning services. So that's all I have for today. But again, just one more time, I can share with everyone, log on today. Here's the Zoom link, and there's the ESC Works. And thank you so much for giving me a few moments.
Thanks, Michelle. We really appreciate you and your commitment and continuing to come back and talk to the early childhood world about this really important work. So, I think a few people have asked about your contact information. If someone can drop that in the chat box, that would be
I
great
will
so they
do
can
that,
reach.
and it's
Okay,
on your screen right now too, but I will definitely do that. Thanks so much.
perfect. All right, we will keep moving along. I think next on the list. Keeler's going to keep us on track is Lori. And Lori, I know presented a little bit of information about this last month, but I know there were a lot of questions and confusion. So she's coming back to clarify and answer any questions and try to make sure we are all clear about what's happening with curriculum. Thanks, Lori.
Yes. Thank you. And thank you, Michelle, for sharing those STEM opportunities. And I just want to make our field, I want them to feel secure in that as we look at curriculums for our early childhood space, we are really using what the research says about those learning experiences and how those STEM model experiences they solicit all of the interactions and that language development and those high quality experiences that we're looking at when we're looking at comprehensive curriculums as well. So that was a great lead in to the work that we're doing around early childhood curriculum review. And like Tanya said, I wanted to take just a minute. I'm not going to go as in depth with a few of the slides. I'm going to give you, the QR code and the website where you can go and do a little more reading. But there were some confusions after last month's call, and we started receiving requests from curriculum vendors, and we started getting emails from our programs that were utilizing curriculums that maybe are not currently on the interim condensed list. But I'm going to go back through just a few of these things, and I want to reiterate that there is nothing that programs have to do currently. Whatever curriculum that you are currently using, whether it's on that interim condensed list or not, you can continue using that while we develop the curriculum review process. In July, we will be asking programs to submit curriculums that they would like to be reviewed. So we will have opportunities to get into those curriculums that you're currently using to be added to our new and updated curriculum list that will not be ready until the 26-27 program year. With implementation, I mean, we're going to give programs opportunities to really review their current curriculum and decide their future goals for the comprehensive curriculum for their pre-K, their preschool birth to 5 programs. So if you will go to the next slide. As we started this curriculum review process, we took the list of 20 curriculums that we had on our current list, and we just used some baseline criteria to develop an interim list. And this interim list was developed using these three criteria. Number one, was the curriculum comprehensive? And just like Michelle shared, there are supplemental curriculums out there to support early childhood in content-specific areas. But as we look at curriculums for this Birth to Five space, we are looking at comprehensive curriculums, meaning that addresses multiple domains in our early learning standards. There has to be a scope and sequence. And what that means is not only does the scope cover those early learning standards, but is there a sequence of developmental progression embedded within those curriculums to support how children learn and grow in their developmental milestones and with content specific development. And then, is it readily available? Some of those curriculum that we had on our list, they're outdated and no longer being published by that developer and that vendor. So we have to make sure that it is readily available. So we have, there will be some curriculum that are for purchase, and that what we call an open source. That means that it is available to all Arkansas programs at, we say, either low cost or no cost to the program. We say low cost because sometimes just printing and making that available to your educators, there's low cost involved as well. So again, this QR code will take you to the interim list that we are asking only if your program is considering a new curriculum purchase. We are asking that you utilize this interim list only if your program is currently looking to make a curriculum purchase. If not, you can continue using what you're using as we develop the review process and the rubric that we're currently working on. We will have a website that we will share that process and how our providers will submit a request for a curriculum to be reviewed. And then you'll have, so go ahead and go to the next slide, Keeler. And this is what the interim list looks like. When you go to the QR code or that link, it will take you to the interim list, that condensed list that is what we're asking any program that is looking to purchase to utilize this until we get our confirmed revised list available. And then again, we wanted to kind of give our providers an understanding of this timeline that we're currently finalizing the criteria and the rubric that will be utilized for what we're calling HQIM, which are high quality instructional materials for our programs. We're going to solicit early childhood. All of our providers will have opportunities to give us feedback. We will have criteria for our reviewers. We will select a team of reviewers with that curriculum, the early childhood experts in the state, and then we will finalize that curriculum, those reviewers. When those applications or requests for curriculums to be reviewed, that will happen in July. Okay, so we will have that process and we will share that website with our providers. So if you are looking to use a curriculum that's not on the interim list currently, you can submit that request for that curriculum to be reviewed. And again, that list will be published for the 26-27 program year. But again, there was a lot of confusion and we had providers reaching out saying, we're using this curriculum that is now no longer on the curriculum list. It's okay. Continue doing what you're doing. Utilize this time to really take a deep dive into what your program is using. Are there areas that need to be elevated? If so, these are opportunities like what Michelle has shared, with these opportunities to really look around the STEM model. We also have the Pre-K Rise initiative that really focuses on foundational literacy in our early childhood programs, that you could use this time to really hone in on, not only STEM, but foundational literacy and our social emotional conscious discipline. So those are 3 areas right now that your programs could take a deeper dive into while we're developing a new revised comprehensive curriculum list for the state. Okay, and I have that timeline. I think we've already covered that. So our next lineup for the agenda is Ms. Teresa Cooper.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Teresa Cooper, Program Manager for OEC. I first want to thank you all for your patience with us as we navigate through the updates and changes that we've had with our program. With that being said, Ms. Keeler, you can go on to the next slide. As you all know, last month when we spoke on the provider call, we informed you all that we would be implementing a wait list. And due to the increased participation in the high demands on February the 15th, we did implement that wait list. So anyone who has applied after the 15th will automatically go to the wait list, except for a few exempt populations that we'll talk about on our next slide. However, families that were initially approved, that were already in SRA, will not be affected by the wait list as long as they remain eligible, and at redetermination, they turn their information in timely. But as of February the 15th, everyone that has applied and they're not a part of that exempt population will go to our wait list. Okay. So those populations that are exempt are our teen parents, the families that are experiencing homelessness, and our TANF families. For the populations of the guardian, custodian, adoptive families, and child care worker, they may be over 85%, but if their income exceeds the 100% SMI, they will no longer be eligible for services as well. With the child care workers, they do have to work a minimum of 10 hours. That did increase. It was 1 hours, but that did increase to 10 hours. But they do have to meet that 20-hour work requirements. All adults in that household or the eligibility group will have to meet the 20 hours. But the child care workers now have to work at least 10 hours at an approved CCDF program participant. Children with special needs and children transitioning out of foster care. Someone says, what is oh, Miss Brain is asked. Good, great. And so these are the populations that are exempt from our wait list. Okay. So we've also had an influx of people asking how, really how does SRA works, the school readiness assistance. So we have put a few slides together to show you all what that is like. So most families think that if you all know, when we implemented our SRA, or the school readiness assistance web-based program, the first step was for all of our families to go in and create a profile. And to do that, they had to go to the link and click on the citizens registration. Once they clicked on the citizen registration and registered their account, they are alerted in the email, or the email that they use. An email is sent to them letting them know that their profile has been approved, but they have to confirm their emails. And this is where most families are getting stuck. They enter that information in, we approve, then their email is either not confirmed, or they don't move to the next step with creating an application. So if they go to the link, go to user registration, enter the pertinent information there to register their account, and then they have to confirm their email. Ms. Keeler. So once that has been done, they will then be able to begin to initiate their profile. So they will click begin to enter the profile. And if you can see, and I know it's small there, if you can see there in the left navigation pane where it says my profile, they have to go through each of those steps and enter the pertinent information in. And then once that profile has been established, that information has been entered in, they'll click Establish Profile at the bottom of that navigation pane. Once that profile has been established, OEC is alerted that that profile has been established, and an email is sent to them that the profile has been established as well, and we approve that profile. Once that profile is approved, they can then create their application, and that's something else that's getting our families caught up as well. They approve the profile. The profile is sent to us. We approve the profile, and then they can go in and create their application, which is the next slide. So once, if you see there's a ribbon up the top that says ADE Office of Early Childhood has reviewed your account, and you can now start your applications. This begins the process of families creating their application for assistance. And so they would click on the tile will open up, and they'll see all of these tiles, and they'll need to click on start the new application. Okay, so they'll select new application. And then the school readiness application screen will populate. Now, because they've already created their profile, most of the information is already in the system. They'll just need to scroll down to the bottom of the page of the school readiness application and select create an application. Once they create the application, they will have the option to sync from profile. That pulls everything over that they've entered into the system when they were creating their profile, and then click confirm. Once they click confirm, they'll see another page that has on the child care application, and on that navigation pane at the bottom, they'll need to make sure that they're on sign and submit. Once that is highlighted from the navigation pane, they will have the option to submit their application. Okay. Once they hit submit, then we are alerted that an application has been submitted for those families. So I think it's a kind of a multiple steps. So just in a review, they have to first create their profile. Once their profile is created, we're alerted. We approve the profile. Once the profile is approved, they receive an email that their profile has been approved. They can now go in and create their application. And then they log back into the portal, select new application, make sure all the pertinent information is there, scroll down on that navigation pane, submit and submit their application. And once that is done, the application is assigned out. So I hope this has been a help to you all as providers, because we know that you all are getting those questions as well. And if they have any other questions, you all can always send an email to the oec.familysupport@ade.arkansas.gov email, and we'll be sure to answer those questions as we get those. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Teresa. I know Brandy and team are on all of the questions, and they're answering them very quickly in the chat box. I did see one, just a comment about families who might have difficulty filling out the application because due to computer capability. I just want to point out that as providers, you can assist your families. You know, I don't encourage, or I would not want you to be filling out the application for them. I've seen a few things happen, and then the family's not able to access the information because the provider completed it. But I think if you have an on-site computer and you want your families to sit and you can help them make sure that they complete it. There's nothing wrong with that. We have a lot of providers who offer that assistance. So please know that that is something that you can do if they're having difficulty. And there is a guide in the SRA tool. So please use that. If you're still having difficulty or if your families are having difficulty, we certainly can, you can reach out to us and maybe we can send someone on site to do training, or we can do a virtual training with you and or some of your team who might be working with the families to do the application. So hopefully that will be helpful. Yes, the SRA is only for today. That's a great question, Paula. It is currently only for children, and I know someone asked about school readiness assistance. For those of you who are not aware, that is what used to be called vouchers or child care assistance, child care federal from our CCDF or Child Care Development Fund. It is now called school readiness assistance. There are other vouchers at the Department of Ed that have nothing to do with early childhood specifically, and we're just trying to keep that confusion to a minimum. So we changed that or rebranded that. So just so you know, but the SRA or school readiness assistance currently only has children that are getting the federal child care. As we move forward, Paula, it will include ABC over time. That probably will not happen this school year coming up in August, but the next school year. We are working towards that so that all the children that we serve will be in one system. But we're taking one step at a time and trying to give everybody a chance to get used to this system and also let the system kind of mature as when you bring up any kind of technology that has this much data and information, there's been a little bumpiness with that. So we're just taking one step at a time, but this will include ABC children going forward. Eventually, that is the goal. I think there's a question, Brandy, about is the application on the, it is just for the SRA children. For your ABC program, for those programs that receive ABC funds, you take those applications at your site and determine that eligibility. You can use an application that we created for both, but you do not have to go into the school readiness for ABC children. And then I think there's a question about, so the state median income is the federal language. Many of you work, and certainly for ABC and Head Start, we use federal poverty level. So SMI is what the feds use for the Child Care Development Block Grant. We are working and we'll try to get something in place that will show you the correlation between SMI, the state median income, and federal poverty. But the question is more about the 85% and the 100%. That is specifically, Nikki, for those early care and education workers. We're going above because we have a waiver. We're going above the 85%, but not going all the way. Like right now, there wasn't previously any income criteria other than you could not make $1 million. But because we're in a wait list, we have to make adjustments to things. And so for the early care and education workers, that calculation is done at 100% of SMI. And if you need to see that comparison, like what that looks like, we can certainly send that to you. Or maybe Brandy can post that in the chat box. No, there may be other questions. I'm trying to scroll through and just keep all the questions answered for you all. I think Kayla's answered the last one that I see. And I am going to just do a quick back through, but thank you guys. This is like record numbers today. So I just want to shout out to all of you who are willing to give up some time to hop on. Our next meeting is, oh my goodness, Keeler, I didn't realize it was on April Fool's Day. I don't know if that's a good omen or a bad omen, but we will have our next call on April 1st at noon. And so we look forward. In the meantime, if you have questions, please reach out to us. I think you have emails in the chat box of many of the staff. It is the first and last name at ade.arkansas.gov. And please reach out if you have questions about anything that we've talked about today or anything that you need information on. we are in an active wait list though, so just know that. So I just want to say to those providers, and I've spent a lifetime explaining this, do not take children that you do not have funding for. Do not serve children in hopes that they're going to get approved. That is very dangerous, and I've seen providers really lose control of their budget and ability to manage that. So just be very cautious about who you're serving and that you have the funding to serve children. I don't want you to get yourself set up in a situation where you won't be able to remain open because of that, because we are waitlisting most children. And I think Teresa explained a few of those exceptions, but those are pretty rare and they're outliers. The bulk of the children we serve are the low income families. So I see the staff continuing to look and I see answers. I think there's been a lot of questions about adventures in learning. We are very aware and very sensitive that we do have that as a free curriculum. And I know that you all have a notice that is not on the list. It did not meet those 3 criteria. But they will have an opportunity to present that curriculum and present any of that will be in the rubric, but they will have to meet that criteria. And just as a side note, our K-12 colleagues have already been through this process. So, you might talk to somebody in K-12 about the process and how it worked for them. But it's a rigorous, like we're going to create a rubric and that Lori and her team are already working on and make sure that an expert looks at it and that it covers all the bases. And we're very sensitive that there is some cost if we do not have a curriculum that's available to you all. So we're paying attention to that. And the state will be looking at how we can help support that. I think the big message here is we want to be able to support implementation of good curriculum that aligns with our standards and that will help you all really prepare children for school readiness. So that's the big goal.
And Tanya, just to add to
Go ahead,
that,
Lori.
because a question came in up earlier about if we're currently using Adventures, do we need to start looking for another curriculum? And again, you do not have to do anything at this time. Once the new revised approved curriculum list comes out, again, the goal is for that to be published by the 26-27 program year. At that time, we'll have done that work and we'll have reviewed those curriculum, and you will have the opportunity to choose from a curriculum. And like Tanya said, we're being very cognizant that they will have opportunities for those open source curriculum to be available at low or no cost in addition to those purchased curriculums. So again, do not think that you have to go out and find something now. We're asking that those programs that are currently using something that's not on that interim list to use this time to look, does the current curriculum that you're using embed STEM activities? Participate in what Michelle is offering so you can start looking at adding those learning experiences. The foundational literacy piece might be something that you want to start looking at, but do not feel like you have to go out and make any changes until we get through this curriculum review process.
Thanks, Lori. I do. We can't emphasize that enough because that was some of the confusion last time. If you were using Adventures in Learning or any curriculum that was on the previous list, you do not need to do anything right now. You may continue to use that curriculum. You don't have to change anything. So please know that. This was just letting you guys know that we are working on that and we are starting to pare that down based on a very small list of criteria that we're using. But if you're using any of those curriculum, as Lori said, you do not have to change that. So don't go out and purchase anything. Just wait. If I were out in the field right now, I would wait until the state announces what their curriculums are going to be formally and puts up the new list, which will be for the 26-27 year. So you can continue to use Adventures in Learning into next school year. Like you have a moment. So take a breath. Don't panic. Don't change anything. If you're comfortable with that curriculum, there's no reason. But we will be considering those cost and supports that we would be able to offer to programs that are going to have to change or make choices to change. Thank you. I think that probably takes care of it. I know there's a lot of questions about the wait list and about families who may have school-age children and have maybe a new baby. to the degree that we can serve them, I just want to say when you're in a wait list, you're in a wait list. You're in a wait list. It means that you may not be able to add anyone except for those populations that are exempt by federal law, and that would be foster care and TANF families. But anyone else that's discretionary low income, even if their family's on, there's a possibility that we would say no if the budget will not allow it, guys, because I cannot go over the amount that is appropriated to us by the feds and that the state of Arkansas legislative body has given us permission to spend. I will not do that. I never have, and I will not start. So we will say no if we can't do that. It's very difficult for my staff to be in this situation. It's a good problem to have. We are serving families. We are serving all the eligible families that we can, and we simply can't serve any more without additional funding. So we hope to be able to serve some of those school-age children and added babies, but there is a possibility we would have to say no to that. So we will continue to monitor the budget. We do have children that age out, so there is sometimes some moving parts, but it's not large numbers. And so unless there's an ability to add financially, we won't be able to do it. Great question. Any idea when additional funding might be in consideration? None. Zero. No idea. I wish I had a crystal ball. I really, truly do. And I know you all, I would say work with your local lead. There may be opportunities locally. I'm not aware of any federal opportunities at this point, and I'm not aware of anything that's happening at the state legislature where funding would be added. But keep in touch and stay on top of that. Sometimes things happen that are very unexpected, but right now I'm not aware of any additional funding that will be added to the Office of Early Childhood. Okay, I think that's it. If you had a question and we didn't get to it, please feel free to reach out. And we'll try to answer that. If you need to discuss anything, sometimes things take a little more than a response in a chat box. But I know that Brandy and her team have been trying to answer the SRA questions, and Lori's trying to take care of curriculum with her team. But I appreciate it. And again, it's really exciting to see so many people hop on the call, and I hope you stay dry and safe if you have to get out in this weather. And we look forward to seeing you in April. Take care.